Hello, I have returned. And Cats Are Life 301 asks, hey, can you help? Hello. How's it going? Can I help you? That, I don't know. What do you need help with? I really need a new username. That it's not this one, and I don't know what I could have as a username. Very simple but hard for you. That is the kind of thing that like ChatGPT I would use for like brainstorming. I guess I don't know. What don't you like about Cats Are Life 301? Have you considered Cats Are Life 302? So what were we doing? So theoretically, we've generated an MP4. So I don't really need any of that stuff. There you go, Cow 301. That's still 6 though. A short 5-letter name with some meaning. Interesting. It's definitely like a I don't know. It's gonna be tricky. Because I bet a lot of good 5-letter names on Twitch are already taken. Okay, so create batch process to render cut list file, S3 assets, transcodes, and uploads them to S3. So I think the next thing is we actually have to like hook up this to getting stuff out of like from DynamoDB and downloading from S3 and all of those things. Before we dive into that, though, I want to think a little bit about how this is working, or how this will work, right? So, get cut list is going to... Why an underscore here, actually? Right, the type doesn't have an underscore. Whatever. Names are hard. Okay, so then we download input files, right? So we download them from the input into a temporary directory. And so then the question is going to be, let's assume that the cut list that we get, if we look at this type, right, it has input media, it's a vec of input media, has an S3 location. So this is probably just going to be a path, right? It's not going to be like, go to this bucket and download the file from there. It could be that way. I could consider doing that way. But this is the path. So let's assume that we already know what bucket we're going to read from. In fact, let's say to do use Figment to load the configuration, which will include I mean, at this point, maybe I should just make this struct. Let's just make this struct. Config. Debug. Clone. Deserialize. I think that's what we need. Input bucket, output bucket, and I mean, at this point, I might as well just do like frame rate. Resolution is Figment can handle that. Maybe. Nah, I won't bother right now. Those are less important things. Input bucket, output bucket. What other configuration do I need here? I guess those are the main things, right? So these are the things that are going to be passed in as environment variables to the job, so that we can configure them in like our infrastructure code. Let's see. There's probably some stuff I want to grab, so we don't need that anymore. Oh, it's just for our test code. Let's see. Video and gesture is also a batch job. Am I using Figment here? Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Let's grab that. Let's import deserialize. DynamoDB table is relevant, actually. Now that I think about it, this is going to be the table that's going to have the project records in them that we're going to be retrieving from and updating to. And so we also want to do all of this and load our config. And that's going to change some things, right? So when we get cut list, we need the config. When we download input files, we need the config. When we run the command, we don't need the config. But when we upload, we need the config. And when we update the job record, we also need the config. So, Copilot, write this for me. Can we just take a reference? Yeah, that's good. Okay, download input files. Yep. And upload file. Yep. Update job record. Yep. What else is it complaining about? Well, we're not importing these things. Let's see. That'd be this. Or Figment for that matter. Oops. We don't get a quick fix here for this because I think it's not in the it's not in our cargo file. That's easy enough. We have Figment in the workspace already. The question is, what are we missing? The AWS config? Nope, it's not that. Cargo toml. Aha. AWS dash config. Okay. So if I save this, what is still broken? Oh, I didn't copy the Figment import. Yeah, let's do that. Are we using SD? Let's see. Next tab. I was thinking it would be nice to be able to switch between tabs. I didn't know the shortcut key though. Well, it's not Control 2. All right. What were we using SDK config? Oh, I see. Pass around the config. Not excited about the idea of doing that. I guess that's... okay, we're also missing tracing subscriber. There we go. Is it not that? Aha. Okay. Yeah, I should borrow here, apparently. No, I hit B. So there's all that. I wonder, is there a nice way to sneak the AWS config stuff inside of our config object so they don't have to pass two things to these functions? I mean, let's go look at the Figment docs. Because if I can do that, that's something that I could probably apply in multiple places. I mean, there's a... My inclination in that direction is like there's a way to do defaults for deserialization or something. It's just a question of like how does... Is that something that is explained and how to do it for Figment? Extracting in profiles. Feature flags. Additional providers. In addition to the 4 gated providers above, Figment provides the following providers out of the box. Provider serialized. Source from any serialized type. Global source from a key value. Source from T as a reference. Let's see, Figment and data keyed for key path details. Huh. I don't immediately see anything. I can cheat. So I could do something like AWS config option SDK config. right? Why not? Result of type T. Yeah, it should be type config. So if I save that, oh, I see, because it can't infer what config is if I'm not returning it. No. I need to do config. There we go. Okay. So then it doesn't like this because it's not deserializable. Okay, then I go the other way, right? So then we just make a, yeah, I could do that, but I'm not. Get rid of this, and we say struct app config. Yeah, app context. I like that word better. Thank you, Copilot. Right, and then we just change around this so it returns an app context, and so we say that. That's wrong. That's okay. And we take all of this and we move it into here. And this needs to be an async function now. Okay. And it's getting closer. Rename symbol. This should be like app context, app config, app context. And then every place where we're taking a config, we should instead be taking an app context. And we will go back and remove some of the hard-coded stuff as we go. You gotta take care of the basics first. Okay, so what errors are left? Missing lifetime specifier. This function's return type contains a borrowed value, but the signature does not say whether it's borrowed from config or output file. Right. So, have I learned anything yet? I think that's what I want. Right, so when we upload the file, the thing we return is honestly not really tied to either of the things. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is right, but it made the error go away. Yeah, and these things will be read real soon now. Okay, so this means that we have a way of getting like the runtime configuration and a way to get the AWS config. Why do we need AWS config? Well, we use that to get the S3 client. if I wanted to go a step further, what I could do was, instead of embedding the app config or the SDK config in this, I could embed the clients, right? We already know we're gonna need an S3 client, we're gonna need a DynamoDB client. So maybe I should do that instead. So DynamoDB client. Yeah, correct. Guess what that means? We need to add more stuff to cargo.toml. AWS SDK S3. Workspace true. No, not true. Tag true. DynamoDB. Are these true things? We don't need secrets manager for this. Okay, cool. So then let's see, let's just do an inline here. Bam. This is fine. So now we have those clients for us and the config, all in a thing that those functions will take. We should rename this function. Load app context, initialize app context. I like that. Sure. Okay. So now we have the groundwork to then actually do the rest of the stuff. So get cut list. Do I have a version of this that's JSON? Maybe not. Okay, we have started JSON. Let's do this. I want to borrow this really quick. I'm thinking one of the things I want to do is, let's see, mod test. Test, create JSON. Let cut list equals this. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Okay. Let's just import all the things, huh? Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, now if I run the tests, do I see the output of the test? Yes. Great. Perfect. And this looks right? So like when we get into like the transition end, duration, type, fade, awesome. Version 100. Okay, all looks good. So why do I want this? Well, I was thinking it would be good as we're kind of rolling forward on this to have a record in DynamoDB and have it actually like retrieve it. And being able to test that actually does the thing. So let's see, export AWS profile. So that'll mean that when we run this program, it'll have access to the account. But we do need a DynamoDB table. And so we're gonna take a brief detour into the CDK code for how we are provisioning our DynamoDB tables. So off the TypeScript land, we're going to create, am I gonna need any indexes for this table? Right, so the idea is we're gonna create a table. It is going to have a unique identifier for the project, and it's going to have the cut list, and eventually it will have the path to where the produced rendered file is, and potentially we could have some other things in it in the future. It is, oh, you know what? Let's go back over to here. I have a diagram, which I should really use when I'm thinking about how this is all supposed to work, right? So when I say a project, it's in the context of this diagram where we have streams, and then each stream is made up of media files. And then I make selections. Now these selections are not going to be like separate records. This is going to be kind of a transitive, like front end app state thing, probably. I think so, at least for now. But the idea will be in the video editor, you'll be able to select sections from multiple pieces of media, potentially spanning across multiple streams, although we haven't gotten that far yet, to make a project. And so the thing I want to create now is a DynamoDB table that represents this project. And then the episode is probably not going to be a separate record. Like you can see here, this is kind of a one-to-one relationship. So this is more me thinking about how this works. Whereas, so in other words, like before we render it, it's a project, and then we render it, and that becomes an episode on YouTube. So I guess these boxes are not like one-to-one representing separate kinds of records. At least for now. I could change my mind. I could decide that there's some reason to do that, but for now, yes. So the projects are linked to multiple media or video clips. I think pretty much everywhere in the project, I just refer to them as video clips. Which are also linked to streams. But I don't know that yeah, potentially we could have that project record containing, here are, so the cut list is going to have like the paths to S3 for where the video clips are. But that's not the identifier of the video clip. So potentially, does it need to have both? Maybe. It might be convenient to do so, to have the record have multiple things. I think we'll have to refine this and figure out. In fact, let me add that to the to-do list. Define schema for project record type. You don't have to do that now to make the table, right? We just need to figure out what's the primary key look like for this. Is it just a single partition key? Is it a partition key and a sort key? But then I do want to, for the purposes of like validating things and defining like APIs and stuff, like define the whole schema for the record type. But we don't have to do that right now. What I do need to know is, so this is a modeling question, right? Of like, if we go into DynamoDB, right? So like this table has a global secondary index, right? So it has a partition key of key. It's the one that's different because all the other ones are just ID. But there could also be a sort key. So thinking about the data that's going into this, each of these project records is pretty freestanding, right? So they are composed of, they pull in multiple media sources, but they're not really interrelated in the way that I'm thinking about this. Does this make sense? I mean, we have, it just occurred to me we do have an episodes table, right? Because that's a part of Glowing Telegram. And anyway, it has a render URI. Although we're kind of using it for a purpose that doesn't really make sense anymore. Those were always kind of transitory. Like I delete those renders afterwards. Do we just use the episode record and we add a new attribute? And we go the other way, right? So in the diagram, I was saying, oh, there's a project in this episode. I do have an episode record type. So maybe the project is just an episode. Yeah. Let's take a look at a record. Does this make sense? Right, so we have a render URI that the output location can go into. And we already have a convention where we have some nonsense here already. And if it's file, we can just ignore it. Or I could add a different attribute. Whatever I want to do. There's something to be said, like thinking about let's see, I have Glowing Telegram. Am I still logged in? All right, so here's the app, right? And if we're like on a stream today, this one doesn't have the new button that I added for the new editor. But like if I am, let's filter things down. Then let's find, this one has episodes. So if I go to the timeline view, there might be data there. Yeah. So this is the thing that I have been using for like, coming up on a year now, right? Where it's just using silence detection to segment out parts of the stream VOD to make episodes from segments. In the new timeline view, which I don't have a handy way of showing right now, it is going to have, like, the intent is to be able to make a selection within the UI, and then to have that create a project or projects, I guess. I guess that ties into some of the stuff that I had on the list here, right? So add cut selection to video editor, add VOD split auto select for cut selection. So this would be the equivalent of that other button that auto creates episodes based on the silence detection. Yeah. Okay. So to make a long story short, I think what we're gonna do is we're not gonna add a table to DynamoDB at all. And what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna use the episodes table. Yes. I'm gonna use the episodes table. We are going to create a new item for testing purposes. And this is probably gonna break the UI. Can I have a random UI ID? Any kind will do. I don't really care. Oh, it's right there. Yoink. Add a new attribute. This is going to be a map. And this is going to be cut list. Each episode will have a cut list. And each cut list object represents the production of one episode. Interesting. Let's do this and let's look at the JSON view and then not use DynamoDB's JSON. And then that means that I can take this object and I can put it here. If I toggle this, it converts it back into the expected format. And then if I switch to form, then we can see what this looks like. So that looks good. Okay, so we'll create this item. And this is the item that we're going to be testing with. Cool. All right, so moving on, finally. I don't need this test. It's not really a test, it was just a quick way of writing some code. Yeah, I'm not gonna think about that right now. We'll probably write tests at some point, right? Unit tests are important. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of this, and we're going to. Oh, you know, I should really let us rename this to context. That'll make more sense. Okay, that's all the places that are significant. Text dot DynamoDB client dot get item. DynamoDB table. The field is the key field is. Oops, I'm in a mode ID. There we go. Is record ID, and then so that will be let item equals that. Okay, so that gets us a get item output, represents the output of a get item operation. Match item. This is an attempt. This is definitely not what I want, though. I don't think that's going to make sense. Instead, what's that? Do I have that? Certe Dynamo? Yeah. Yoink. I think this is what I want. Save that really quick. Oh, that's not defined in the workspace. We only use it a couple of places. So we're gonna fix that. Because this is the second place we'll have used this. So let's add that to here. And then this one can be changed to use the workspace version. I forget when I went through and did this, but I redid all of the cargo.tomls where if a crate was being used by more than one of my own crates, I would define the version in the top level toml file. That way all the versions were kept in sync. So what does Certe DynamoDB do? I think something good. It explains what DynamoDB is, provides a way to serialize and deserialize between data stored in these items and strongly typed Rust data structures. So I have a struct with a cut list. I guess I do need to go back and, no. I have a type. For, types lib.rs for an episode. Yeah. See, I have a type for an episode. The thing is, though, is that this type is it doesn't include the cut list. So let's just fix that. And then I can get rid of the item that I added to the list of things to do, which is important. Otherwise, I'll be scratching my head a week down the line being like, what was I thinking? Okay, so in episode.schema, yeah, we have a JSON schema. And we want to add a property called cutList. Type is an object. Yep. This refs. That's a good attempt, but not quite right. CutList. That schema. Is that not correct? Expected comma. Oh yeah. You should expect a comma. And that's sufficient, right? And then it's not required. So if I run my type generator, just from API schema, it did an error, so that's good. If I go back to lib.rs, now we have a cutList class. Okay. Oh, interesting. Why? So I'm using a tool called Quicktype to generate both Rust and TypeScript types from JSON schema. So what's happening here is I have a cutList.schema file that defines this type. Why on earth did I say example.com? Okay, well, whatever. I blame Copilot. Anyway, it's fine though. It works. And so this is like where the definition of that is coming from. And so when I refed that, it didn't figure out that. Let's see. Is there a way? Type. Is there a way to prevent it from defining the same thing multiple times? Yeah, they have a little web app that you can use. Oh, and it remembered a past thing that I did. But there's not really an option that would impact. Hey, Twerk. Hi, friend. How are you today? Nice to see you live. Greetings from Twerk. Hello. How's it going? I will admit I haven't been all that active over on your side of things, but I see you've been quite busy. I think I always see you live doing stuff. I hope you things have been going well for you. I'm currently trying to figure out, now that's just these options, if there's a way to prevent this tool from adding the same type definition, the same struct multiple times. Twerk says good things. Excellent. And Brainless with some Santa Twerks from Death Row's channel. I got some of those too. Oh yeah, one of those. Yeah, never mind. I have the same ones. Anyway. And so I think the reason it's calling it cutList class here is because it's trying to avoid a name collision. But is there Is there something else I can do here? Reference a definition hosted on any location. Let's go, yeah. Okay, is there... How does Quicktype respect ref? Ooh, can I do this? Can I just like use this ID? It didn't hate it. So if I look at lib.rs, but there's still a cutlist class. Cutlist. Input media class, but there's also a cut list. What did that actually change? Like if we look at the diff here. Yeah, so it started disambiguating the names of things because it's like, oh, I have two things that are very similar. Like, why can't it just use one struct? What happens if in here I get rid of the ref? It's just an object. Yeah, so if you don't tell anything about it, it just turns it into this, which is not really what I want. But that means we don't have multiple cut list structs defined. Instead we have, hey, it's a hash map of string to some value. And like, I don't want to just edit this file because it'll get overwritten when I regenerate it. Which is like kind of the downside of this kind of tooling, unless there's like an escape hatch for you to like override how it's generating things. Is there a downside in having it just have multiple cut list? Because they're not interchangeable. Like if I have one cut list struct and a cut list class struct, you can't interchange those. And because our lib.rs is in a you know, I could potentially... Would I be allowed to make a file alongside this file in the same TypeScript that provided helpers that converted between types? Or does that literally have to be in this file for that to work? Rust, when are you allowed to implement on types? Local to our crate. Not to the module, but to the crate. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to go back to here. For now, I'm going to leave this as is, and we'll use cut list class, whatever is inside of the thing referred to inside of the episode. Okay. Thanks for the yeses, Twerk. Yeah, let's move on. So, oh, I see. This is supposed to be a attribute value s record ID to string, something like that. Okay. Okay, so we have an item. What I want to do... I mean, this is all wrong. What I want is I want a cut list. So Copilot's suggesting things to me, but it's suggesting things on the assumption that, oh, the thing in DynamoDB is gonna be spread out amongst different properties, and I have to go pull things in, and I don't want to do that. Instead, what I want to do is I want to say, actually, could I just say episode is assert from attributes, and we just need to tell it what the type is. So the type is episode. There we go. Item.item is kind of weird. So item here represents get item output. So let's change this to be item output. Control. And then we can match on this. Item? Item? Yeah. Item here is an option that has a hash map. Okay. Cool. And then we can get rid of that awkward item. And then all we're really after is the cut list. So this is episode.cutList. Okay. And then it's like Serde DynamoDB doesn't exist. Serde Dynamo exists. Okay. But it doesn't have from attributes. What does it have? From attribute value. From item. Yeah, from item. Okay. It doesn't like that though, because the trait bound Serde Dynamo attribute value std convert from not satisfied. So what is from item supposed to take? It's supposed to take an item I that is something that can be interpreted. Interpret item as instance of type T. Interesting. So what does it mean to be an item in the context of Serde Dynamo? It's something that can be converted. So okay, it's a hash map of string and attribute value. The issue is that this is the Serde Dynamo attribute value and not the AWS SDK DynamoDB attribute value. It's kind of awkward. All right. What client are they using here? Yeah, they're using that client, scan. How's this working for them then in their example? Result to vec from items. Yeah, so they're importing from items. So that should work. What's the problem? Let's go. Did I still have the page open for Serde Dynamo? I do. Converting to and from. Yeah. We don't actually need to do that. AWS SDK support. Oh. Add the following to your dependencies. Ta-da. Okay, let's see. Cargo.toml, top level. We'll just paste the thing they gave us here. That needs to be inside of curly braces. And why is it +1? I don't know. But maybe, hey, it doesn't complain anymore about that. Okay, expected struct types cut list found enum option types cut list class. So cut list is an option. So match. Just gonna go all the way down. Episode.cutlist. Yeah. If there is some cut list, okay, cutlist.into, and we'll need to implement a thing to convert between the two cut list types. And that will satisfy the error. But somehow it's been another hour. I'm gonna take a break here for a couple minutes. I'm gonna stretch my legs. My left foot is going numb for some reason. And I'll be back and we'll continue working on this. So